There comes a moment in life when you have to face a difficult truth. No one is coming to rescue you. Not the perfect friend, not the perfect opportunity, not some future version of yourself who suddenly becomes disciplined, confident, and fearless overnight. It is easy to spend years believing that something outside of you will eventually arrive and make everything better. You wait for the right circumstances. You wait for more money. You wait for motivation. You wait for someone to recognize your potential. You wait for life to become easier before you finally begin. But while you are waiting, time continues moving, quietly and without permission. This does not mean that people cannot support you. They can. Family can encourage you. Friends can stand beside you. Teachers can guide you. A mentor can show you a better path, but no one can take your steps for you. No one can wake up inside your mind and change your habits. No one can make the difficult decision that you keep postponing. No one can consistently exercise for your body, study for your future, control your reactions, repair your relationships, or build the life you secretly hope to have. Support can be offered, but responsibility cannot be transferred. Sometimes waiting for rescue becomes a habit because it protects us from the discomfort of action. If someone else is supposed to fix everything, then we do not have to confront our own fears. We do not have to risk failure. We do not have to admit that we have been avoiding something important. Waiting can feel safer than trying, because as long as you are waiting, you can still imagine that your potential remains untouched. But potential that is never used eventually becomes another form of regret. Your mind may tell you that you need to feel ready before you begin. But readiness is often not something you discover. It is something you build through action. Confidence does not always come before the first step. Very often, confidence is the result of taking many small steps while still feeling uncertain. You act, you learn, you adjust, and gradually your nervous system begins to understand that you can survive discomfort. The person you want to become is not waiting somewhere in the future to suddenly appear. That person is being shaped by what you repeatedly choose to do today. Think about how much energy can be lost by constantly hoping that circumstances will change on their own. A better job will not automatically find you if you never develop new skills. Better health may not arrive if your daily habits remain unchanged. Peace may remain distant if you continue feeding the same thoughts, conflicts, and patterns that exhaust you. There is no shame in needing help, but there is danger in making helplessness part of your identity. You do not need to solve your entire life today. You do not need to have every answer. You simply need to stop giving away your power by believing that your future depends entirely on something outside of your control. Look honestly at what is in your hands right now. Perhaps it is one phone call, one difficult conversation, one application, one walk, 1 hour of focused work, or one decision to stop repeating the excuse that has kept you stuck for years. The truth is that your life can begin changing long before the world around you looks different, because the first change happens when you stop waiting for permission and begin accepting responsibility for the next step, even when that step feels small, uncertain, uncomfortable, and completely yours. Your daily choices are quietly creating your future, whether you are paying attention to them or not. The future is rarely built in one dramatic moment. More often it is shaped by ordinary decisions that seem too small to matter. The way you begin your morning, the thoughts you repeat, the food you choose, the work you avoid or complete, the conversations you have, and the promises you keep to yourself all leave a mark. One decision may appear insignificant, but repeated decisions become patterns, and patterns gradually become the direction of your life. It is easy to focus only on the big goals. You may imagine the day when everything finally changes, when you become successful, healthy, confident, financially secure, or emotionally stronger. But that future version of you is not created by wishing for a better life once in a while. It is created through the small actions repeated when no one is watching. Every day gives you an opportunity to vote for the person you are becoming. When you choose discipline over delay, learning over distraction, movement over complete inactivity, and honesty over excuses, you are sending yourself in a particular direction. The difficult part is that the consequences of daily choices are often delayed. Eating one unhealthy meal may not immediately damage your health. Skipping one workout may not make you weak. Avoiding one important task may not destroy your future. In the same way, reading for 1 hour may not make you an expert overnight, and one good decision may not transform your life by tomorrow morning. Because the results are delayed, the choices can feel unimportant, but life often works through accumulation. What you repeatedly do becomes more powerful than what you occasionally promise yourself you will do. Your brain also learns from repetition. Each time you follow a familiar behavior, you make that behavior easier to repeat. If you constantly tell yourself that you will start tomorrow, tomorrow can become a deeply practiced pattern. If you repeatedly respond to difficulty by giving up, your mind begins to expect retreat. But the opposite is also true. When you repeatedly take action despite uncertainty, you begin teaching yourself that discomfort is survivable. When you keep small promises to yourself, trust in your own ability slowly grows. This is why you should not underestimate a single day. You may not be able to control every event that happens to you, but you can often influence how you respond to it. You can choose whether the next hour is spent moving closer to something meaningful or moving farther away. You can choose what information you consume, what habits you strengthen, and which excuses you continue to believe. These choices do not need to be perfect. Perfection is not the goal. Awareness is more useful than perfection because you cannot change a pattern until you are willing to see it clearly. If your current life is the result of thousands of previous choices, then your future can also be influenced by the choices you begin making now. You do not have to erase your past or become a completely different person in a single day. Start by asking yourself a simple question. If I continue making today's choices for the next 5 years, where will they lead me? That question can reveal whether your habits are building the future you truly want or quietly taking you somewhere you never intended to go. Growth is rarely comfortable. In fact, many of the things that can change your life require you to move through moments you would naturally prefer to avoid. You may want confidence, but confidence often requires doing something before you feel ready. You may want strength, but strength requires resistance. You may want a better future, but creating one may require leaving familiar habits behind. The discomfort you feel is not always a sign that something is wrong. Sometimes it is simply the feeling of becoming unfamiliar with the person you used to be. Your mind naturally prefers what it knows. Familiar routines require less effort because you already understand them. Even an unhealthy pattern can feel safe when it is predictable. That is why people sometimes remain in situations that make them unhappy. The known discomfort feels less frightening than the uncertainty of change, but staying comfortable can have a hidden cost. What feels easy today may slowly create a life that becomes increasingly difficult to live tomorrow. Consider the things you avoid because they make you uncomfortable. Perhaps it is starting a difficult project, speaking honestly, learning a new skill, exercising when you would rather stay still, or admitting that a habit is no longer serving you. Avoidance can provide immediate relief. The moment you postpone the task, your body may feel calmer. But temporary relief can teach the mind to avoid the same challenge again. Over time, the things you avoid may begin to appear larger and more frightening simply because you have given them so much space. Growth asks you to respond differently. It asks you to understand that discomfort and danger are not the same thing. Feeling nervous before an important conversation does not necessarily mean you should avoid it. Feeling uncertain at the beginning of a new challenge does not mean you are incapable. Feeling tired during effort does not automatically mean you should quit. Sometimes your body and mind are reacting because you are doing something unfamiliar, and unfamiliar experiences demand attention and energy. This does not mean you should ignore genuine warning signs or force yourself through every painful experience. Wisdom is knowing the difference between harmful pain and productive discomfort. Harm tells you that something needs protection, treatment, or change. Productive discomfort often appears when you are stretching a capacity that has not been used enough. The ability to tell the difference becomes important because a meaningful life will almost certainly require you to tolerate some uncertainty, effort, and temporary frustration. Think about any skill you admire. Before competence, there was awkwardness. Before strength, there was resistance. Before confidence, there were moments of doubt. The person who appears calm and capable today may have spent years practicing while feeling uncertain. We often see only the result and forget the uncomfortable process that produced it. But improvement has a price, and that price is often the willingness to be a beginner, to make mistakes, to receive criticism, and to continue when progress is slower than you hoped. You do not have to seek suffering, but you do need to stop believing that a comfortable path will always lead to growth. Ask yourself what you have been avoiding simply because it feels difficult. Ask what would happen if you took one small step toward it instead of another step away. Your capacity can expand through repeated exposure to manageable challenges. Each time you face something difficult and discover that you can handle it, you build evidence that you are more capable than you previously believed. And gradually, the discomfort that once controlled your decisions begins to lose its power. There is a point when waiting must end and responsibility must begin. Not tomorrow, not when circumstances become perfect, not when you finally feel completely prepared. The moment to take control is now, because now is the only place where you can actually make a decision. The past has already happened, and the future has not yet arrived. You can learn from yesterday and prepare for tomorrow. But your power exists in what you choose to do with this present moment. Many people spend years postponing the changes they know they need to make. They tell themselves they will start when life becomes less busy, when they have more money, when they feel more confident, or when someone gives them the right opportunity. But life rarely pauses and creates perfect conditions for action. There will always be another problem to solve, another responsibility, another reason to delay. If you make perfect circumstances a requirement for beginning, you may continue waiting while the years quietly pass. Taking control does not mean controlling everything. You cannot control every event, every person, or every outcome. You cannot prevent every disappointment or predict every difficulty. Trying to control the uncontrollable can leave you exhausted. Real control begins by recognizing the difference between what belongs to you and what does not. Your effort belongs to you. Your attention belongs to you. Your response, your habits, your preparation, and many of your next decisions belong to you. That is where your energy should begin. Perhaps you cannot change your entire situation today, but you may be able to change what you do during the next hour. You may not be able to repair every relationship, but you can choose honesty in your next conversation. You may not solve every financial problem immediately, but you can begin learning, planning, or making one responsible decision. You may not instantly become healthy, confident, or successful, but you can take one action that moves you in that direction. Small control is still control, and repeated action can gradually create larger change. One of the greatest dangers is becoming so focused on the life you want someday that you fail to notice the life you are living today. You imagine a future version of yourself who wakes up earlier, works harder, speaks more confidently, and finally takes life seriously. But that future person is being created by the choices you make now. Every time you postpone what matters, you are practicing postponement. Every time you take a difficult but meaningful step, you are practicing responsibility. You do not need a dramatic transformation tonight. You do not need to make 10 promises and change every habit at once. In fact, trying to change everything can become overwhelming and lead you back to the same old patterns. Instead, ask yourself what requires your attention most urgently. What have you been avoiding? What decision have you already known you need to make? What small action would make you respect yourself more by the end of today? Begin there, without waiting for applause or permission. There may never be a perfect signal telling you that it is time. Sometimes the decision to take control feels quiet. It may simply be the moment you stop making the same excuse, stop blaming what you cannot change, and turn your attention toward the next action within your reach. Your life does not need to be completely understood before you begin moving forward, but the direction of your future can start changing the moment you decide that another day of waiting is no longer an option, and place your hands firmly on the part of your life you can still shape.